Good evening. My name is Marshall Andrews, and I'm the Vice Principal of TJ. At this time, we would like everyone to remain standing for the presentation of our colors and the singing of our national anthem. We ask that all men and young men, including the males in the class of 2019, remove their hats and headgear. After the singing of the national anthem, we ask that everyone remain standing until our colors have been retired.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets reckless, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave on the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Again, good evening, parents, guardians, faculty, and honored guests, and the graduating class of 2019. Welcome to the 88th commencement exercises of Thomas Jefferson High School. I am Tamara Mines, principal of Thomas Jefferson High School. It is with great pleasure that I acknowledge that our graduates are closing a chapter in their lives and beginning a new one. Parents and guardians, we know that you have been anticipating this moment for what seems like an eternity. Thank you for entrusting our staff and Richmond Public Schools in playing a valuable role in your child's education, and to you, job well done. And now, it is with great pleasure that I present to you our stage participants. I ask that you hold your applause until each section has been introduced. Each stage participant is asked to stand as his or her name is called and to remain standing until the entire section has been introduced. On my far right, on the first row, Dr. Tracy Epp, Chief Academic Officer. The Honorable James Scott Barlow, the Honorable Elizabeth Dorr, 1st District Representative to our school board, the Honorable Dawn Page, 8th District Representative to our school board and Chair of our school board, Mr. Jason Cameron, Superintendent of Richmond Public Schools, and Delegate Adams. Please recognize this section at this time. Thank you. You may be seated. On my far left, on the third row, Ms. Roberta Abacabo, Department Chair, Career and Technical Education. Ms. Mary Person, Department Chair, Physical Education and Performing Arts. Mr. Stuart Harnsberger, Department Chair, World Languages and Visual Arts. Ms. Melissa Johnston, IB Coordinator, Diploma Program. Ms. Tracy Cady, IB Coordinator, Middle Years Program. Mr. Paul Adams, Department Chair, Exceptional Education. Please recognize this section at this time. On my far left, second row, Ms. Janine Callahan, Department Chair, Language Arts. Ms. Janet Hawks-Pleasance, Department Chair, Mathematics. Mr. Dustin Lackey, Department Chair, Science. Ms. Jacqueline Bruce, Department Chair, Social Studies. Ms. Ramah Johnson, School Counselor. Mr. Riddell Thomas, School Counselor. Please recognize this section at this time. On my far left, the first row, Ms. Chloe Hagans, President of the Class of 2019. Ms. Maya Fife, Salutatorian Class of 2019. Ms. Cosette Bell Ferguson, Valedictorian Class of 2019. Mr. Willie Dupree, Department Chair, Guidance. Ms. Crystal Potee, Assistant Principal. Mr. W. Marshall Andrews, Jr., Assistant Principal. Ms. Io Morton, Spoken Word Artist. I would also like to acknowledge our organist, Ms. Diane Bacon, the director of the TJ Choir, Mr. Rufus Johnson, and in the orchestra pit, the conductor of our TJ Band, Mr. Eric Cousins. At this time, please recognize this section. Thank you. In the audience and flanking our candidates for graduation are members of the faculty and staff of Thomas Jefferson High School. At this time, I ask that teachers and staff members stand and be recognized. Thank you. You may be seated. We're happy to recognize as well our special guests in the audience, former principals and staff members of Thomas Jefferson, patrons, parents of former students, and community partners. Please know that we welcome your presence and value your support this evening. Thank you, and the program will proceed as printed.
Good evening, parents, family members, and friends, as well as our faculty and staff, and to the graduating class of 2019 of Thomas Jefferson High School. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Richmond City School Board. And before I take my seat, I would like to leave these words with you. You have walked a long way toward this goal, but you have successfully managed. Best wishes for you on your graduation from high school. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Again, congratulations to the 2019 Thomas Jefferson graduating class.
We'd now like to call up Delegate Dawn Adams for a very special surprise presentation.
Good evening, class of 2019. I am so proud to be here. My name is Delegate Dawn Adams, and Thomas Jefferson High School is in the 68th district that I represent. And on behalf of the Virginia General Assembly, we'd like to present on the 90th anniversary of Thomas Jefferson High School this commending resolution.
On behalf of RPS, I just want to say thank you to the entire assembly, and thank you so much for being here, Delegate Adams. Could we please show our appreciation?
Good evening. It is great to see all your beautiful faces out there. My name is Maya Fife, the salutatorian of class of 2019.
And my name is Cosette Bell Ferguson, and I'm the valedictorian of the class of 2019.
We are here to celebrate a special moment that we've all been waiting for, but we would like to share a little story about ourselves. We all remember being freshmen and having bittersweet emotions about new friends and starting new classes. Well, we met in the most awkward but beautiful way possible.
Our history teacher had us doing group icebreakers so that everyone would be a little more comfortable with each other.
I walked into history class and screamed hey to somebody that I knew.
And I was just sitting there minding my business, and here she comes screaming in my ear.
Okay, exaggerated. I wasn't screaming in her ear. I was screaming to everyone in general.
Well, whether she was screaming at one person or 30, I didn't want to go deaf. So I just turned to her and said, "Shut up."
Now, if any of you were in my predicament, you would have said something because that was downright disrespectful.
I felt like the way she was screaming in my ear was disrespectful.
From that moment on, I was convinced that I was going to hate Cosette forever.
That 5-second interaction, the first time we met, determined how we treated each other for an entire year.
We would avoid each other on purpose and give each other the side eye all the time, but that changed one day in 10th grade.
We had a substitute teacher one day. He was pretty talkative and at some point asked the class to tell him something he didn't know. So I raised my hand and said, "Did you know Beyonce had a pet snake?"
The substitute responded and said, "Yeah, because a snake is a snake," and Cosette and I immediately started laughing.
That odd moment of laughter allowed us to connect with each other for the first time. And just like that, it was like whatever we were holding against each other disappeared.
At that moment in Mr. Dawson's class, I really didn't understand what the quote meant. Now I realize that it symbolizes that we shouldn't let fake people or tough obstacles stand in our way of being successful. In life, you will not always follow a stress-free path to success, but it will be a beautiful one.
And after that moment, I realized that Maya and I were just being petty for no reason, and we let something so small and insignificant divide us. Since then, we've learned to tolerate each other more and more. And even despite people trying to insinuate a negative sense of competition between us because we're the top two, today we are best friends.
We've acknowledged our differences and accepted them. We fully support each other and encourage each other to be successful in every aspect of each other's lives.
We've learned that we balance each other out incredibly well, and we are extremely grateful to be in each other's lives. We want to let our friendship be an example of a change we wish to see in society. We want people to understand that success comes to those who work for it, but also that there is room for all of us to be successful in our own ways.
So shout out to all the people who are trying to get their lives together, who feel like they're barely making it, who feel like they are stuck in their place. You can do anything that you put your mind to.
Sometimes you have to take risks, but the only real limitations you have are the ones you place on yourself.
All you need is a little ambition and to refuse to let any opposition of your dreams come into fruition. Please don't forget the friends you've gained or any lessons your teachers have explained, and go into life with your drive sustained and your motivation unrestrained.
As a family, we've hustled all year and we've lived for the grind, but now it's time for the class of 2019 to get out there and shine. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, class of 2019. We've made it. My name is Chloe Hagens, Senior Class President, and I will be introducing the keynote speaker. And the story goes, Alberta begat Edna, who begat Libby, who begat Joy, who begat Aya. Poet, author, teacher and preacher, mind and heart, and most importantly, soul. This life has been shaped by Richmond Public Schools, nurtured by Hampton University, refined by Samuel DeWatt Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union University, and resourced by Union Presbyterian Seminary. While she has written 3 novels and released a spoken word CD, her statement is, "I am not a writer. Prayerfully, I am a person who is so passionate about people that I strategically place words in the correct order to reorder their lives." Licensed to preach at Antioch Baptist Church in Susan, Virginia, ordained at the St. Paul's Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia, spoken word artist, director of Womenist Arts, Inc. at Katy, Geneva, Cannon Center of Womenist Leaders, a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Aya Mariama Morton is a Black woman giving her gifts back to God. Thank you.
have been a lyrical empire in the making for years, dumbing my intellect to fit in with my peers. With that in mind, I was nicknamed Nova, shining bright then fading when the poem was over. But I smiled and remained humble, even when the negative comments were mumbled. It's not my fault that I never stumbled, it's just that my words never allow me to fumble. Each time I believe I've reached my peak, I grab a pen and magnify word freak. And my lyrics often try to sneak, but leave me on top whenever I speak. So when I remix my flavor and become radical and throw my sincerity on a sabbatical, my boldness multiplies and my info may rise as I represent cries of unseen eyes. I'm the ignored materialized, but nonetheless an empire on the rise. In competition, I never win by a nose. The reason, I suppose, is my skill never froze, and I never allowed my ink pen to close. Superfluous was my 4th grade word, and for that I would be seen as a nerd. That was the reason it was never heard. But overflow would often slip from my lips, making my brain do flips, begging to be put to use. I would fit in public with internal abuse. But when my vocabulary and tongue called it a truce, we started kicking like that Asian named Bruce and danced out poetry without a sweat, and it soon became dangerous when my pen and pad met. But the public could only admire and respect this undeniable intellect that the deepest experts can't dissect. So I became the 3rd island in Novaya Zemlya, used for target practice, but I'm already on fire. But with beautiful words that flow so nice, I'm often so cool that my temperature is ice. And if super means over, then I'm a super giant, with the dictionary as my #1 client. Super and giant makes me supergent one, meaning a star that's brighter than the sun. So within 10,000 feet, you'll go blind, because the light from my brain is too much for mankind. So instead of speaking poetics, I'll speak from my heart, where $1,000,000 words are torn apart. And my lyrical skill flies off the chart. I guess for that reason, I believe that I'm smart. Or maybe it's other factors that plays in, like my brain constantly hits 1,000,000 pounds when it weighs in, and creates a riot when it stays in. And philosophers plan strategic ways in, and constantly gets reviews saying amazing. I just do my best to leave the mic blazing. And if nothing else, please understand, 80% of the gross national product rests in my hand, and the other 20 depends on my plan, so my head is high in demand. So now that I'm speaking my mind, it's the most valuable info you can find. Born 3/16/81 with a tongue more deadly than any gun. From critics been titled the greatest one. I ain't the greatest, just the latest one. There was paper, then there was pen. Somewhere down the road, rhythm descends. I'm just all those things wrapped up in skin. And I guess it's that reason that I'm destined to win. What's up, y'all? Now, I do know proper decorum. I promise you I do. So I do want to greet Mr. Superintendent and his cabinet, school board officials, greetings to principal minds, administration, faculty, and staff from the Thomas Jefferson High School. Good evening, family and friends, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2019. It is an honor to be here this evening. 20 years, I'm telling y'all how old I am, 20 years after sitting in the same section you're sitting in right now, graduating from the same school, it is indeed an honor to be the one chosen to deliver this commencement address. So let's get to it, all right? All right. Everyone loves a diamond. Diamonds are beautiful. Diamonds make statements about the person wearing them. They add a certain essence to whatever they are attached to. What this finished version of the diamond doesn't tell us is that in order to be that diamond that we admire, it has to go through a process. Diamonds do not just appear beautifully out of the ground. They have to go through a very strenuous process. Now, when I say process, I mean they are dug up, crushed, pulled up, examined for value, washed, greased, hit, and sawed before we ever see them. I'm sure you're sitting there trying to figure out why I'm talking about a diamond on your graduation day. It may seem kind of odd, but I would like to offer that you have proven to be the diamonds from our community. You have proven that you are the valuable gems from our community that will be able to carry on the rich legacy of everyone who has the honor of calling themselves graduates of TJ. We often get into these processes and the community will give us a pat on the back for the good things about us, but will give plenty attention to those things that are not so good about us, to the point that we often focus more on our flaws than on our greatness. Think about getting a report card. Let's say you have all A's and one B, or God forbid that one other grade be a C. Instead of focusing on all of those A's, we have a tendency to ask, well, what was the one class you didn't get an A in? Let me tell you, those moments when we didn't focus on the positive things but zoomed in on those negatives, they're about to pay off in a major way. Check this out. You didn't allow your flaws to stop you in this process. You stayed the course, and in spite of your flaws, you stayed the course in spite of your flaws. But know that with a diamond, what causes a diamond to shine are those flaws. Those things that can't be so easily smoothed out about you, those are the things that cause you to shine in a beautiful way. The fact that you made it here, in spite of the fact that your parents may not have, you may not have had any support, you are horrible in math, English, science, or history, you learned differently than the others, you got in trouble along the way, you didn't always know where your next meal was coming from, haven't gotten to you, hold on. You didn't do as well as your siblings. No one ever said good job. Your school supplies never really fit the requirements. Your clothes never measured up. You didn't have the glasses you needed. You were bullied. You were always in a fight. You lost someone along the way. Anything along this path that stopped it from being smooth, you still made it here, and you will get the same diploma as the people who didn't have the challenges you did. But you come out with a better shine because you have an overcomer story to go along with your diploma. I'm here to celebrate you with your flaws. Now understand, you have proven to be the diamonds from our community, but this is not the end of the process for you. You have simply been cultivated and are now ready to begin the next phase of the process. Think about that diamond process. It is nestled perfectly in the belly of the earth. It is used to its surroundings. It's happy, nestled in a good piece of kimberlite, and wants to be left right there. The problem here is the kimberlite. We can relate. If we look at the kimberlite, it is a mass of darkness that surrounds a valuable substance. It surrounds the diamond tightly, but it has a tendency to erupt rapidly and violently. How can we relate to that, Io? We are living in a good piece of kimberlite right now. Let's be real. The environment we live in is dark. Everything we are experiencing screams that our society has the potential to erupt at any moment. We want to continue doing what we have always done. We want to remain in that comfortable space. We can relate, but the diamond is chosen for a higher level of work. So it is dug up. It is now in an unfamiliar environment. It's still below ground, but it is not in that naturally secure place any longer. It is now in the middle of a process. It is then crushed. While we know that the kimberlite has to be crushed to be able to move it above ground, the diamond doesn't have any idea what is happening. All it knows is it has been removed from the place where it was content, and now it is being crushed. But even in the crushing, it is being handled with care because the person doing the crushing knows the value of what is on the inside. So it is being crushed, and then it's inspected. It's being inspected to see if it has been crushed enough. See, this diamond has grown accustomed to being attached to something that was never worthy of holding it in the first place. So it has to be crushed to break the bonds that are holding on for dear life. Because until the diamond lets go of all of that dead weight, it cannot move to a higher level. So once it is inspected and it is determined it has been crushed enough, it is then taken above the surface. It is then light enough to be carried to higher ground. This is another unfamiliar step in the process. Being the diamond experts that we are, we know that the diamond has been brought into a space where it can be touched by the sun. We know that, but this diamond, on the other hand, doesn't have a clue what is happening. The diamond only knows that it is in yet another unfamiliar space. This can be very scary for this diamond that has been in the darkness for its entire existence. To be brought into the light is a scary thing when you have lived your entire existence in the darkness. But in the light, the diamond can be seen clearly by the one who knows its value. Those last pieces of debris that are still hanging on to this diamond can be seen for what they really are at this point: hangers on. So the diamond is then washed. It is submerged in water. See, it's in the water that the diamond is made fully clean, because in the water, those scraps that have no value aren't heavy enough and they float, but the diamond has weight on it. The diamond sinks to the bottom. So when the diamond is taken from the water, it is placed on a slanted belt that is layered with grease. It is taken from the bath and gets greased up. It can't be out there all ashy. After all, it's a diamond. But who wants a greasy diamond? So the diamond is taken from the grease and boiled to remove the excess grease. Now, this is another unfamiliar, uncomfortable space for this diamond. Now it has been placed in hot water. All it knows is that it is now in boiling hot water. It's only a diamond, and this may be a little scary. I'm sure by now the diamond wants to find the closest transportation headed back to the belly of the earth where the kimberlite was. The diamond is like, somebody call me an Uber. What the diamond doesn't know is that where the diamond came from, the diamond's natural, comfortable space, it's no longer there. So even if the diamond wanted to, the diamond couldn't go back. Remember, the diamond is clueless in this process, but the person taking the diamond through this process is crystal clear on its value and would never do anything to hurt this diamond. So when the diamond has been boiled enough to get the excess grease off of it, when the natural grooves are defined, it's placed under a cleaving iron. This is a heavy piece of machinery that is designed to hit a substance as hard as it possibly can. That's it. It's meant to hit hard. See, this diamond is the hardest known substance, so the cleaving iron can't do anything but assist it in breaking along the grooves that are naturally there. See, the diamond doesn't have any idea just how bad it really is. The diamond was designed to be broken in places that would give it the best shine. So the cleaving iron can only do what the diamond's creator allows it to do. The cleaving iron is clear in its role, and it's just happy to bump up against the diamond. See, this diamond has no clue how dope it really is. Listen to this. The diamond is taken to a diamond saw that is oiled up with diamond dust and olive oil. Translation, because the diamond is the hardest known substance to man, it is taken to a saw that is made of diamond and oiled with its own essence. What does that mean? It means the only thing on the planet that could ever cause the diamond any harm is the diamond itself. That's good news. See, as our community's diamonds, you are set up from the beginning to be victorious. You are taken through processes that seem scary, but you have to remember, you were qualified to be dug up. You were qualified to be crushed. You were worth taking to higher ground. You were washed and separated from the debris that was trying to dull your shine. You were greased up to show off your grooves. You went through the boiling hot water of SOLs. You were placed under the cleaving iron of the challenges you were hit with along the way so that you could be broken in the ways that would give you the best shine. And diamonds, now that you're shining, know that the only one who can truly hurt you is you. So class of 2019, take your place as the newest diamonds from our community. Shine brilliantly, but also remember how you shine, your actions dictate what the world believes about our community. So when you take your place, know that you are not one diamond shining for yourself alone. You are shining for all of us. Congratulations. Shine, baby. Shine.
We don't even want to follow that. Let's give her another hand. Thank you for that inspiring message, Ms. Morton. At this time, I would like to share with you a few of our many accomplishments that have made Thomas Jefferson High School an institution of high academic achievement. This year, the class of 2019 has truly distinguished itself academically. 96% of our graduates will receive an advanced studies or standard diploma. That's right, you can cheer that on. With the remainder receiving an applied diploma. 43 seniors sat for the International Baccalaureate exams during the 2018-2019 school year and are eagerly awaiting scores. 18 of these seniors are full diploma candidates and are waiting scores to potentially receive an IB diploma. These students have engaged in a rigorous program of studies and competed against worldwide academic standards. We are proud of their hard work and accomplishments and their courage for participating in such an endeavor. 2 of our seniors are graduates of the Governor's Career and Technical Education Academy for STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, in Richmond. This program provided a rigorous academic and technical program of study in 2 career pathways. Engineering and Technology and Therapeutic Services programs were taught at the Richmond Technical Center. Students have been prepared for a full range of post-secondary opportunities. These opportunities consist of 2- and 4-year colleges, entry-level employment, apprenticeships, and the military. Because of the focus and academic determination of the class of 2019, 80% of this year's graduates will continue their education in 4-year colleges or universities and 2-year community colleges, both in the Commonwealth and in other states. 3% will enter trade and technical schools. 3% will enter the military. Another 14% of our students are well prepared to enter the world of work. More than 50 colleges and universities attended invitations to our students this year. Out of the 16 public universities and colleges of Virginia, our students were accepted to 14. The top 10 colleges that our students were admitted to were J. Sargent Reynolds, James Madison University, Norfolk State University, Virginia State University, Virginia Commonwealth University, our university, Old Dominion University, Radford University, George Mason University, the College of William and Mary, and Mary Baldwin University. Scholarships and grants for the class of 2019 totaled approximately $3 million over a 4-year period. We are so proud that our students have been welcomed at an array of diverse and impressive schools. Finally, we would like to recognize our outstanding robotics program. Yes. Especially the seniors that are graduating this evening. They went from no one knowing much about them to rock stars, making news near and far. From a team that found it difficult to qualify to local and regional champs, and eventually
global competitors. With a determined, competitive, no-quit attitude, this group defeated many schools that never saw them coming along their way. With their heroism efforts, they represented the city of Richmond against other students from across the globe that now know them and their proudness to win. Viking Bots, thank you, young men and women, for the wonderful and thrilling journey. Congratulations.
Now, let's get back to these diamonds. Two of the academic standouts of our graduating class are a dynamic duo of two young ladies. They are our valedictorian, Cosette Bell Ferguson, and our salutatorian, Maya Fife. Both individuals have distinguished themselves as stellar scholars. Maya, will you please stand? Maya has shown herself to be a natural-born leader among her peers inside and outside of the classroom. She is a meticulous and strong leader who makes sure her peers feel valued. She is a member of the marching band, SCA vice president, administrator of the robotics team, member of Partnership for the Future, Communities and Schools intern, member of the National Honor Society, and a volunteer at the Children's Museum. Now, some may wonder how a student can balance out all of these activities and still keep their grades up. According to Maya, it's not that hard. You just have to keep your eye on the prize and keep your academics first. We see the proof in the pudding with her rank of number 2 in the class with a GPA, get this, of 4.75. Within all her clubs, she holds her positions of leadership with love, respect, trustworthiness, boldness, and diligence. In the fall, Maya will be a Duke and attend James Madison University. She plans to mold the minds of young people by being a special education teacher. She credits all her success to her mom, bestie, and other supportive family and friends. Let us applaud Maya Fife for her outstanding achievements and salutatorian. Thank you, Maya. All right, let's talk about this next diamond. Cosette Bell Ferguson, will you please stand? Cosette is an academic scholar and is active in several extracurricular activities in the school and the community. She has tutored younger children in a variety of subjects, including math, reading, and Spanish. Cosette is a talented writer and has participated in Podium, a creative writing club, for 4 years. She's a member of the tennis team and National Spanish Honor Society. She has participated in other activities such as robotics and drama club. She has demonstrated her strong sense of leadership as the Student Council Association president. This young lady will be taking her outstanding talents to the city of brotherly love. That's right, better known as Philadelphia, where she will study as a Temple University owl. Our valedictorian and number 1 daughter of Thomas Jefferson High School for the class of 2019 with a GPA of 4.87, I give you the one and only Cosette Bell Ferguson. Thank you, Cosette. At this time, I will recognize the top 10 students of the Thomas Jefferson class of 2019. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing and be acknowledged. Also, parents or guardians, would you please stand as well as I call your child's name? Audience, please hold your applause until all the names have been called. Cosette Bell Ferguson, Temple University. Maya Fife, James Madison University. Najee Iverson, University of Richmond. Aaliyah Todd, Virginia State University. Ayanna Brown, Virginia Commonwealth University. Shannon Williams, James Madison University. David Whitley, James Madison University, as well as he will be enlisting in the Army Reserves. Amazing Bullock, James Madison University. Graceland Hamlin, James Madison University. Paris Callahan, Temple University Japan campus. Please applaud the achievements of our top 10 students. Thank you. You may be seated. Finally, we would like to recognize Michaela Rudolph. Would you please stand? Michaela graduated one time already. That's right. She graduated last month on Mother's Day, May the 12th, with an associate's degree from J. Sargent Reynolds Community College as an early college academy graduate. She will take to George Mason University this fall. 60 transferable credit hours of work towards her bachelor's degree. Congratulations, Michaela.
Seniors, you have been recognized this evening for your perseverance, focus, academic achievements, and honors. I am privileged to recognize, as well as the other distinguished groups of individuals critical to your success: your parents, grandparents, step-parents, guardians, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, and other family members and friends. Their patience and support have been invaluable in ensuring your presence at graduation this evening. Family members, we salute you too, for the achievement of your children belongs in part to you. On behalf of the class of 2019, I would like to thank Mr. Sones as senior class sponsor. Give it to him, because y'all gave him the business, so give it to him. Ms. Person, Ms. Alexander Taylor, our senior class coordinators, for their endless effort, patience, and guidance on behalf of our graduation candidates. Thanks to senior class vice principal, Mr. Andrews, and assistant principal, Ms. Potee, for their assistance to our graduates. Finally, we would like to thank our principal, Ms. Mines. In addition, our caring senior class school counselors, Mr. Dupree, Ms. Johnson, and Mr. Thomas. They provided vision, enthusiasm, and vitality in collaboration with the Future Center coordinator, Ms. Kennedy. Last but not least, tremendous thanks goes to our wonderful teachers and staff who helped seniors achieve this goal. Will our staff members once again please stand and allow our seniors to applaud you? Come on, staff. That's right. Come on, staff. That's right. There you go. You may be seated.
forever, but forever has blown away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. I don't know where this road is going to lead me. All I know is where we've been and what we've been through. Ooh. If it gets me to tomorrow, I hope it's worth all the pain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Although we've come to the end of the road, yeah. Sun and you belong to me, I belong to you. Sing it again, oh, to the end of the road. We can't let you go, son, let you go. You belong to me, belong to you.
Mr. Jason Cameras, as principal of Thomas Jefferson High School, I certify that the Thomas Jefferson High School class of 2019 has met the requirements for graduation as prescribed by the Board of Education of the Commonwealth of Virginia and the School Board of the City of Richmond.
By the power vested in me by the Richmond City School Board and the Commonwealth of Virginia, I hereby certify that all members of the class of 2019 Thomas Jefferson High School are ready to receive their diplomas.
Gabriel Abala. Erica Addison Barnett. Brian Amaya Marquez. What? Raed Araman.